Hello everyone and welcome to my review for Record of Ragnarok Chapter 57. We got the translation a little sooner than I expected. It seems like Orang is still going to be doing the translation for the lower quality scans that we get on the 26th. But then in addition to that, they're also going to be doing high quality translations for the magazine scans. So I guess we're still going to be getting reviews same time of the month as usual. So that's pretty cool. But before we get into this month's review, I of course have to mention we are only 11 subscribers away from hitting our subscriber goal for 2021, getting 4,000 by the end of the year. So if you're watching this and you haven't already, please be sure to hit that subscribe button. I guarantee if every person watching this who hasn't already hit that subscribe button, we would hit our goal in no time flat. So with that out of the way, let's get on with the review. The first chunk of this chapter is a flashback dedicated to Qin Shi Huang, which is kind of what I was expecting. I feel like at this point, we kind of have a feel for the general fight formula for Record of Ragnarok. We kind of know the order in which we're going to get things. So I pretty much expected us to get a backstory this month. Now, I think this is only going to be the first of two backstories, because this one is an explanation for Qin's martial arts style, and kind of how he became King of China, like the exact event that led to him becoming King of China, or Emperor of all of China. But it doesn't really explain his upbringing or why he is the way he is, and we usually get some kind of backstory for that as well. In the case of characters that have had multiple backstories, that's usually the case. We have one backstory explaining their techniques and then one explaining like their ideology or something. Usually, that's kind of how I expect it to go. You always need one flashback to explain why they believe the things they do and why they act the way they do. Whether or not that includes how they obtained their power, then maybe we're gonna get two flashbacks. So I think we're definitely gonna get one for Qin later. Probably closer towards the end of the fight. But in this one, we get the origins of Qin's martial arts style, Qiyo. It's named after a demon god that ruled over China and was the being that let people become kings. He was the one that allowed people to rule over the various nations within China. And then when Qin went around and conquered the warring states, he was going to give him permission to be emperor over all of China. And everyone else, as you would imagine, is trembling in fear whenever they have to go before Qiyo, because he's a big demon thing. You would be scared shitless too. But not Qin. Qin doesn't really give a shit. I like to imagine that's just because he literally can't see him. That'd be kind of funny. Most mortals would tremble in fear at the sight of me. Yeah, I literally can't see you. I can't see shit right now. And maybe not just because he has the blindfold on. But anyway, instead of bringing him like 10,000 sacrifices, Qin throws him a dummy made out of dirt from Qin, which, is the, what would it be called? Providence? Nation? I don't know, the section of China that Qin was from. I'm not super familiar on Chinese history, so I don't know the exact terminology for all that stuff. But he's like, here, the soil of Qin is most delicious. Eat to your heart's fill. Eat dirt, motherfucker. So, as you can imagine, Qiyo is not too thrilled about this, so they have a fight. And after 6 days, Qin manages to defeat Qiyo, which is kind of nuts. However, considering this is a backstory deity that was fucking around with humans, it's probably safe to assume Qiyo is really not that strong in the grand scheme of things. Maybe compared to, like, other gods. However, it is of note that Qiyo looks fairly similar to Haijin. He has very similar aesthetics, the face tattoos, the black eyes. Are his teeth black as well? No, but you look at him, you look at his facial structure, he's got horns, he's got the tattoos, he's got the black fingernails, black eyes. Dude looks a lot like Hajin. So I'm wondering if this is just kind of the general aesthetic you have for demons. I know Incubus didn't have it. but I doubt Hajin was an idea by then. So maybe after that, once the author came up with the idea of Hajin, they were probably like, yeah, maybe like all of the straight up demons kind of have this general design theme. Or maybe it's something else. Maybe there's a closer connection than we're aware of. Probably not. But who knows? So anyway, yeah. In case you didn't know, Chinese martial arts are strong. This was still in the BC, all 2,000 years of Chinese martial arts are very powerful. And it's through this battle that Qin develops. He finalizes the Chiyo martial arts style that he uses now in the present. And it was after this that he became the emperor over all of China. And that's when we go back to the present. But before we get into that, I'd like to give a shout out to my wonderful patrons. Special thanks to Neo, Dijon Redden, Anthony Chavez, Honey Mustard, K-God, Chris Redfield, Scratch23, Rat, Ryzen 4K, Artist, Mac Campaign, Wave of Manga, Chuck Swedenseed, Jakester Easy, Play Free Labs, and Emerald. Thank you all very much for supporting me on Patreon. I greatly appreciate it. And if you too want to get a shout out at some point during videos, or access to reviews for Solo Leveling and The Boxer, you can always become a patron as well. There's links to my Patreon down in the description. With that out of the way, let's get back to our regularly scheduled review. So back in the fight, we get an explanation from Brunhild about Qin's martial art, the 5 parts of it, which we hear earlier. You know, the 5 elements of war, the sword, the spear, armor, crossbow, and the halberd, were all added to war by Chiyo, one of the interpretations of Chiyo, the god of war. And that's where Qin got his martial arts style from. He named it after that. And we get an explanation from Hermes that Qin deflected the energy of Hades' attack and then immediately sent it back at him. Oh my god, is that the Nico style? Yeah, pretty much. It's pretty much Demon's Bane. And they're all just really impressed by the fact that he was able to do this, and to Hades nonetheless. So Hades is a little bruised, chest is a little bruised. He seems to have suffered some kind of head injury, which bleeds a lot. Generally not a place you want to get cut open. But he gets up, and this is where we get into an interesting exchange. Hades asks him, "What in your eyes makes a king?" My favorite line from Dark Souls 2. What is a king? And in Qin's mind, a king is defined by 3 things. They never doubt, they never yield, and they never rely on other people. Well, I guess it's 4 things, actually. And they always stand as the leader of their people. That's what makes a king. Not bad. I mean, I think that's a pretty decent perspective on what a king is, a real king, what a king should be. Now, Hades is surprised by this, and then he starts laughing. And then Qin starts laughing too. And this is one of those great scenes where Qin has no idea why Hades is laughing, but he doesn't seem to want to be left out on the experience, so he just starts laughing along with him. And he's like, ah, ha, ha. So what are we laughing about? And Hades says that Qin and his beliefs on what makes a king reminds him a lot of Poseidon. So, I mean, let's go over this here. Well, what is his standards? Never doubts, I guess. Never yields, yeah. Never relies on other people, yeah. Always stands as a leader of his people. We never really saw Poseidon as much of a leader, other than, like, the sheer fact that he was a god. He was the king of the seas. We never really saw him doing any kingly shit. So, it's kind of hard to say. He was certainly kind of an asshole, but he didn't have the fun personality of Qin. Now, as of right now, although I think Hades is going to win, I kind of like Qin more, because I'm not really digging the whole, oh, my brother Poseidon is the best. I mean, this is a fairly realistic thing to happen. I mean, it's his brother, he just died. You would expect Hades to be doting over him a lot. But, you know, Poseidon's not really the most interesting or compelling guy in the world. So it's like, Hades, can we get something else from you? I think we're going to. We're definitely going to, I think. And there's going to be deeper stuff to that. I mean, most of his caring for Poseidon is that I'm the elder brother. It's my responsibility to care for and avenge my younger brothers. I wonder how the whole Adamas thing went over. Would he not have a problem with Poseidon for killing one of his other brothers? That sounds like a difficult situation. Hopefully that's addressed whenever we get Hades' backstory. But yeah, you also have Persephone, who, is the most significant person in relationship to Hades, in mythology. All of Hades' attacks so far have been named after her, so I imagine we're going to see her at some point. And the wife power-up will probably be very strong. As we know, there's nothing better than a dude that just really loves his wife, so hopefully we're going to get that from Hades at some point in the future. Now, Hades goes in for a different type of attack. He does an overhead slamming attack instead of a piercing attack, like what was the only thing Poseidon did. So this is already a pretty good step up from Poseidon's fighting style. I mean, when you have a pole arm that's not just like a straight pointed spear, the ends of the bident are bladed. Those are blades. The sides of them are sharp. You could use them as like a slashing weapon. Big downward swing, Smasher of Earth, Persephone Titan. Now, this is a pretty cool attack. It doesn't have like any big crazy visuals, it's just cool seeing how it works. Where Hades just keeps pressing down on Chin with as much force as he has, and then when Chin's getting ready to deflect, he starts pulling back the attack. I assume it's like hooked onto Chin's hand or something. So now he's trying to deflect downward force, but then is also being pulled forward by the attack. It's too much. It's too many different vectors of force to deflect. And eventually he gets smashed into the ground with so much force that Hades like flies up into the air and flips over him. Kind of stylish, I might add. Now everyone thinks Chin's dead, but I mean, come on. We're only on the second chapter since the fight got called in. He's fine. Relatively fine. He's coughing up anime quantities of blood. He seems to be bleeding rather severely from the head. But then again, head wounds are scary. Head wounds bleed like a stuck pig. And he's wearing a white blindfold, so maybe that makes it look like he's bleeding more than he actually is. I don't know, but he's certainly injured. He's probably got a bit of a headache. So Hades is like, yo, you still want to fight? And he's like, yeah, sure. And he takes off his blindfold. Already, who would have seen the blindfold removal happening only 2 chapters in? And we find out, oh my god, he's super fucking hot. I mean, we knew this. We knew he was very attractive. But, it's the Gojo thing. You remove the blindfold. Something eyes. His eyes are strange. They're all whited out. I'm wondering if he's blind. Is he straight up blind? Because he looks blind. He looks like he can't see anything. It would explain why he wears the fucking blindfold all the time. He presumably does some sort of energy sensing or whatever. I have no idea how he read the VIP sign. I've seen it suggested by, Neo, he read the energy of the sign. Shut the fuck up. That's not how that works. Unless he's like, fucking, I don't know, Daredevil, and the sign was an engraving, so he was able to use echolocation to read the indentations of the sign or something. I've also seen some people suggest that he's able to read, like, energy movement and weak points and stuff, which would be neat. However, personally, I would prefer Chin just be blind as opposed to having another magic eye power. Gojiro's technically not someone with eye powers, but we've gotten 3 people with magic eye powers thus far. If you want to say that Gojiro's power is his brain rather than his eyes. Because later on, when he achieves his current level of scanning, he doesn't even have to see something to scan it, he can just feel it. You have Adam, you have Jack, you had Buddha, this is another eye power, that's 4 now. I'd like a little bit more diversity in terms of what the magical powers of our human fighters are. Though it is of note that he does call him King of the Netherworld, so Chin does seem to acknowledge Hades as a fellow king. Just 2 kings looking at each other. That felt really good to say. This fight's off to a pretty good start thus far. I'm definitely feeling really good about this fight. I think it's off to a better start than the last 2. It's starting off pretty solid. Both the characters are cool. They're both likable. They're both attractive. They both have cool designs. Their powers are interesting. Or, their fighting style. Hades doesn't really have powers yet. It's mostly just a fighting style. once again. Hopefully he'll have some kind of magic power, because that's another thing I'm tired of, is just all the gods are physical fighters. They're gods. They should have some kind of magic bullshit. Thor could summon up lightning. Shiva was able to fucking light himself on fire, although that was technically through natural means. And Heracles had the labors. That was magic. That was magic shit. So, Hades, king of the dead, please have some magical abilities. I would like that. But yeah, with that, that's pretty much all I've got to say about this month's chapter. What did you guys think about it? Please be sure to let me know down in the comments. But with that, that's all I've got to say for this month's review. If you enjoyed, please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and click that notification bell so you don't miss any of my uploads. I do Record of Ragnarok chapter reviews every month. I also do occasional special videos, like the tier list I did yesterday ranking my favorite characters. So definitely check that out if you're interested. And if you enjoy discussing Record of Ragnarok with other people, or you just enjoy the content I produce in this channel, I highly suggest you check out my Discord server. I have linked that down in the description. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys around. Take care.